Hello, in this video I'm going to talk about the update of my project for continuous integration and continuous delivery using Jenkins, GitHub, Ngrok, Webhooks, JaCoCo, and SonarQube. Now first, let's just have a recap of the project. The project is a Maven project that is built in IntelliJ. It's a very simple calculator with, in the main method, a print statement which does not have a test case, an add method, a divide method, and for add and divide I provide the test cases. And the major part is actually about the POM and the Jenkinsfile. This is what I'm focusing on. So first, last time the major problem is about authorization of SonarQube. I frequently encountered the error that you are not authorized. I was struggling with passing the parameters, especially the SonarQube token to Jenkins. Now, the reason I found out is actually how to configure the token. I just realized that last time I messed up with my tokens, so here you can see all the credentials. Now, I have many credentials here. Sometimes it's secret test, sometimes it's just login password, and then I delete all of them. I create new token. I also, let's see, on SonarQube, I also make my tokens clear. I delete all other expired tokens and create one and which were not expire. So in this way, I paste the token on my Jenkins, so give it the ID Sonar token and a description, so that it will be very clear this token will be used as everywhere, and it is very well encapsulated. It will not be disclosed. Okay, so this is the thing I have done, and the Jenkinsfile, I messed up with it for long time. Okay, the problem is how to write a Jenkinsfile. This is a groovy syntax. In order to write groovy syntax with color, you can use this one, or you can configure here, use file, setting, and file tab, and here you find groovy. Groovy, let's find it. Yes, and then you add it here. I've already added here, so there's green color, and sometimes it can give you some hint if you have one more or a bracket, for example, but it is not very powerful. Now you begin with pipeline agent any, which means any agent. This is a Maven. I have a problem with this because once I forgot this dash and it didn't work. The environment is actually all the variables you're going to use, like the token. That here is how you encapsulate it. You pass the token to the variable SonarQube token, like a constant, and this will be used later. But the name of Sonar token actually is this ID Sonar token. So in this way, no one will see your token. I also pass the URL project key. And the pipeline is actually to just separate a whole job into several segments that one comes another. Last time I did this using a view, and the first job triggers the second and then triggers the last. But this time we have stages, just like in stages we have each stage. First it will build, and second test, and then SonarQube analysis. We will see the stages very clearly. In the stages we have steps. So what to do. Now, in the build stage, you ask Jenkins to check out. Check out what? Now, my major issue is here. Usually you just say git and then provide the git URL, but it doesn't work for me because I frequently got the error called the branch is not correct. I just saw something like git master in a log. That's very strange because my GitHub is main branch. I don't have master branch. I configure everything to main branch, and even I changed to bug fix branch in this Jenkins file. It doesn't work. So I just found out that you need to specify this main. One reason is perhaps the Git version is too old. So what I did is I downloaded the latest Git on my machine, install it. I also go to Jenkins, manage Jenkins, and update a lot of plugins, which took, I think, perhaps 20 minutes or something, even more. So I'm not sure if that update of the Git helps. But on my machine, I have to write it in this way. Checkout means you ask Git to clone this project and from the main branch, and it is Git. Now, so what Jenkins do, in Windows you use B80, Maven clean package, but skip tests. Okay, because tests will be doing next, in the next stage. Now, after these steps, you always print this stage post always. Actually, this is shown in my log. And if it is successful, you just print pipeline post success just for debugging. Otherwise, you just print pipeline post failure. The second stage is test. In this case, you ask Jenkins to do Maven test and then ask JaCoCo to get the report. After this step, always collect the test reports from JaCoCo and JUnit. And if it is successful, archive the artifacts, which is a jar file. This is similar to what I did last time, because last time I configured this in the Jenkins UI, and things like this also is configured in Jenkins UI, but this time you just put everything in the file and put it on Git, so it is under version control. Okay, the last stage, SonarQube analysis. Why it comes last? Because maybe because SonarQube actually in my configuration, it will also generate or show you the test reports. That's why test should go before SonarQube analysis. In this case, you pass the steps, Maven Sonar. This is something we wrote in Jenkins UI. This is the token, you see, SonarQube token, which is a variable. So within 2 percentage signs is this one. And this value comes from Jenkins, the Sonar token that's stored in Jenkins. And likewise, Sonar host URL is also a variable. The value has been passed in the environment. And project key, okay, this is for, and you are going to analyze the language with Java. Where does it come from? You just analyze the source code and also exclude anything in target, like anything CSS, HTML, which is not Java, so that you will not cover irrelevant code. So this is the final Jenkins file that at last works. Actually, I have many versions, as you can see in my commit history. In my commit history, okay, I sometimes just create very simple errors. sometimes I just you know, change the POM file. Previously I tried to use the script to do this, but then it didn't work. I don't know why. And in the end, I just use this way. The last thing I did is actually very silly mistake, which is you have to use these two brackets. If you lost one, it doesn't work. It just, the problem of Groovy is that simple syntax error where you will not be notified and the IDE will not tell you, and the Jenkins log will tell you something which is not very directly useful. For example, you can see how many failed time I have. I just show you one of the projects, like perhaps this one. Okay. What's the message? You see? It just tell you check out. Okay. In the stage, we can see the build is failing, and the log says check out from version control. This is wrong. Now, I couldn't think about what's wrong with my version control, but actually, in the end, I found that the reason is just this: a Groovy syntax error, because I lose one pair of brackets. So this is why I think I need better tool for Groovy. Okay, now let me show you the final project that is successful. Let's see. One thing is that I was very frustrated to test my Jenkins file. I have to make changes, push it to Git, and then run it on Jenkins. And if I use Webhook, make it more complicated, because you have to first go to your you open your Ngrok, and then you have that public URL, and you configure this on the GitHub's webhook, and this is successful, of course. But then you just use this temporary public URL to run your Jenkins, and then you make some changes in your code and you push it to Jenkins. Sorry, you push it to GitHub, and the GitHub will trigger, the webhook will trigger the building of that Jenkins job. It is a very, very complicated process which has a lot of dependencies. So what I do is I create something like this: test Jenkins files. I just do nothing. I just test it. I paste my Jenkins file here and try whether it works or not. Okay, when it works, and then I will push. And then at the last stage, I use the webhook so that I can limit. I can find where I was wrong. Okay, now this is my intention was to put everything together, and that is this job. This job I use all the things: Ngrok, Webhook, Jenkins, SonarQube, JaCoCo, and let's see the configuration. This configuration is very easy. The only thing we need to tick is this one, GitHub hook trigger for Webhook to trigger this one. And then here we choose pipeline script from source control, that is Git, and provide the URL of my project and specify the main branch, and then script path Jenkinsfile, because my Jenkinsfile is at the root of this project. So I don't need to specify the path. Then you save it, and I push my code. I have to do a lot of push. The reason is Okay, the reason is I made a lot of changes. So here I went to the folder and to open the git bash, and whenever first I work on the bug fix branch, whenever I did something, modify the Jenkins file, I add, commit, and push. And then when it works on bug fix, checked on Jenkins, then I will push, merge bug fix into main, and then push it to main so that the main and the bug fix are synchronized. Now, let us see the result of this one. Okay. This is very nice because you can clearly see the stages. First, it check out the GitHub. We can read the logs, and also the logs are easier to read than the log in the end. So this stage is basically about GitHub. This is about something about the tool itself. And then we have 3 stages that are defined in the Jenkins file. The build stage is Maven clean package, skip tests. We can see here I have a lot of trouble, but the only trouble is actually the syntax, and also maybe Git, the version of Git. And we can see here, you can see the log is shorter because the logs are also segmented into different stages, so it's easy for us to focus what we are looking for. That is why I think this is very nice. And you see here the echo message has been printed. This is build and then test. In the test, the tool, again JaCoCo, and then archive. You archive. Okay, and the last one, SonarQube analysis. We see, let's just read the last part of the log. Okay, all the parameters has been transferred here. So we don't need to write so much things in analysis parameters as I did last time. Okay, so what I want to say is that it's clearly showing you how the work flows from one end to the other. You can see we have 5 commits here that connects to GitHub, and the time, average time, and have 1 artifact that has been archived. And the latest test results are 0. We can also see the pipeline steps in more detail. You see, the Jenkinsfile actually has done so much things. Now, I didn't show you my projects, but it is here. Okay, the code coverage something and analysis is the same. It just gives you the coverage from test and the code smell to improve your code. So, to wrap up, I think the key is Jenkinsfile, and my problem is about how to specify the branch, and we have to configure it in this way, and to find a better way to write in Groovy. Okay, although I think I learned a lot, I think I failed a lot and learned a lot, and I have Git for me now is much smoother and very helpful. But every time you have new challenges and you try to learn. Thank you.